After the last season turned out to be a bit disappointing, I decided to take the tough road. I stumbled and... what did I find? The Krabby Patty formula! Oh wait, somehow not that exciting after all. Maybe I can sell it on eBay though. Fine, then keep your overpriced crap. But then I stumbled upon the 4th season of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. Now, that is going back to old school. Not only is it really good, but it also delivers a full 42 episodes. Season 5 gives us only 20 again, but that's not what we are here to talk about right now. Sherry is on a revenge mission, like Sasuke on high heels, trying to uncover the secrets of a card connected to her father. She's even willing to kill for it. Luckily, her employee steps in to stop her. When that doesn't get her anywhere, she decides the headquarters must have more answers. One bomb threat later, there's plenty of time to investigate. Just that Yusei and Bruno are still inside the building. Sherry and Bruno head out, leaving Yusei to face off against Ellsworth in a duel. Looks like he just sailed straight out of Wano and comes with samurai cards that give Yusei a serious run for his money. And what's Sherry up to? Instead of, I don't know, easily analyzing the card like a sane person, she kicks Bruno until he activates Ultra Instinct. Bruno actually finds the card interesting as well, so he decides to help her out. Yusei turns the duel around and claims victory with his Stardust Dragon. Now they are all ready to regroup, only to end up sucked into a card. Inside, there's basically just a random shell or something, and the next thing you know, all 4 of them are spit out somewhere outside the city. Crow is sad because of the loss of an old friend, Robert, who used to take care of him and the other orphans before tragically losing his life in a burning building. Coincidentally, the security division is now on the hunt for someone using a card connected to Robert's old rival, the very reason Robert died 3 years ago. Time for Crow to solve the case. He visits an old acquaintance who has absolutely nothing to do with Robert's death at all. To get more answers, Crow has to put his black-winged dragon on the line in a duel. If Crow wins, he gets the truth. If he loses, he has to hand over the card. But does he actually have the card? Nope, but who cares? Thanks to the rocket-powered bike, Crow's opponent gets around the corner first. And that's why he begins. What happened to the coin toss or a good old game of rock, paper, scissors? Crow now doesn't even get the chance to breathe. While he manages to summon 2 monsters right off the gate, they are obliterated immediately, along with 900 of his life points in the next turn. Strangely enough, the totally innocent opponent just so happens to be running a counter deck to crush Black Wings, a deck Robert used to play back in the day. Suspicious much? Meanwhile, either Jack and Yusei have Byakugan eyes, or the producers were high as a kite because the 2 of them are watching the duel from way up there. And just to be sure that everyone gets that he killed his old buddy, he plays the very card the police is looking for. He killed Robert because he refused to take the money and make some shady deal. Damn, what is this, Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Breaking Bad? The card wrecks Crow, slashing his life points hard and even damaging his motorcycle. But that actually turns out to be a good thing, because Robert's ace card is hidden inside the bike. Crow now just cheats the card into his deck and summons the monster to finish it with a black-winged dragon. After the duel, the boss probably ends up in jail, but at least they get some sweet upgrades for the bikes. With more horsepower under their butts and new suits, they even come up with a name for their squad. 5Ds, because the 5 of them are connected by the Crimson Dragon. The tournament matchups are drawn, and our heroes are set to go up against none other than the creme de la creme of opponents. Crow, of all people, manages to crash into one of their rivals while riding in. And who has to clean up the mess? Of course, it's Yusei. He's forced into a 1-on-1 duel, which, surprise surprise, turns out to be a setup to analyze his strategies. The rival doesn't even use his own deck, just to avoid revealing his real tactics, and instead spends the duel stalling for time so he can observe more of Yusei's cards in action. Clever? Oh, absolutely. Enough to actually beat Yusei? Well, kind of. Despite the fact that the opponent isn't even using his real deck, he still gives Yusei a hard time. That said, neither of them technically wins because time runs out. Crow gets a little extra motivation for the tournament in the form of a picture of the kids. Just that he gets a bit too overhyped, goes into a corner way too fast and wipes out, putting the team at an immediate disadvantage. But wait, Akiza steps in to take the spot. Crow is sad about that, but sucks it up for the sake of the team. A little bit of training under Crow's watchful eye and the tournament can finally begin. The first duel kicks off, starting with a match between Jack and the leader of Team Unicorn. Andre starts off with initial D levels of speed, gunning it to secure the first draw. But something feels off. Despite having the chance to pull off a synchro summon, Andre doesn't do it. Jack, on the other hand, doesn't waste time with mind games and summons his Red Dragon Archfiend faster than Light Yagami scribbling a name in the Death Note. Which was exactly what Andre wanted. Using his monster's effect, Andre pulls his monsters off the field just in time to redirect the attack, hitting Jack with 3000 points in damage. Now Andre decides it's finally time for a synchro summon. He weakens Jack's dragon and destroys it. Not just the dragon, but his D-wheel seems like giving up as well, but Jack couldn't care less. He brings his dragon back stronger than before and refusing to fall for the same trick twice, neutralizes it and finally lands a counterattack. Andre activates a speed spell and delivers the final blow, sending Jack straight to the 0 life points club. To make matters worse, thanks to his busted bike, Jack ends up looking like a pilot without a license. He might be lying on the ground, battered and bloody, but this race is far from over. He's got the willpower of a Saiyan and literally drags his motorcycle across the track to pass the baton, the sticker, to Akiza so she can take over where he left off, losing a shit ton of life points. Akiza doesn't let herself get rattled though and pulls out a card no one saw coming. She summons her Black Rose Dragon and, as the cherry on top, brings out Stardust Dragon as well. Sure, he gets taken out faster than Sir Crocodile in the rain, but she sacrifices her life points to bring it back. This ensures Yusei can start the race with his ace, which is the minimum for taking on all 3 opponents. So draw your Uno reverse card and show them who is the real king of games. Since Andre was already on the verge of getting clapped, as he tricked Yusei and therefore deal 2000 damage. He's out because of that, but now Yusei has to face 2 more opponents with only 2000 life points left. 2 completely mysterious duelists, since Andre had been carrying all the previous duels solo. Breo used to be full of himself back in the day, had a girlfriend, until she dumped him the second he lost a duel. A true woman of substance. Now, Breo isn't interested in taking down Yusei's life points, but instead he focused on thinning Yusei's deck like Saitama's hairline. Breo even takes a direct attack on purpose just to keep thinning Yusei's deck further. And then with a trap card. Faster than Enel's lightning, Yusei is left with only 5 cards in his deck. But that's all he needs for him, as Yusei ends him with just 1000 life points and 4 cards in his deck left. Now it's down to the final opponent, the strategist of Team Unicorn, who starts off with a synchro summon. He wants to end the duel right away, but ends up strengthening Yusei. All he really needs to do is to hold the line, but instead he rather goes for the attack, which just gets Stardust Dragon back on the field, dealing some damage. At least he manages to figure out Yusei's strategy, successfully counters it, and just to flex, he even shows Yusei the next card he had drawn. But his enemy is still Yusei, and he just can't lose. If anything, he would keep dueling even while unconscious, Rock Lee style, rather than throw the towel. Instead, he fuses his 2 signature cards, Stardust Dragon and Chunk Warrior. Now, down to his final card, Yusei goes for a high-speed direct attack, but it gets blocked. His opponent's turn manages to counter Yusei's combo and is uncertain if he should end his turn. Nah, he attacks and runs straight into a trap to lose the guaranteed victory. Yusei did it! He soloed all 3 opponents, even though he ended the duel with literally 0 cards left. Close call, but a win is a win. At the party, Sherry makes an entrance. I took out all 3 opponents by myself! And you scrubs? What do you want? I also beat 3 opponents alone. But only with the power of friendship. Exactly, only thanks to all the groundwork we laid. Keep dreaming, side characters. Wait, we are also No, you're not. I am the one who will become Hokage, find the One Piece and ride a giraffe. I am the protagonist. Some flashbacks to think about Iliasta and then she's gone again. Nobody learned anything, but at least Bruno got some memories. The next day, Team 5Ds heads over to watch the next opponents go up against Team Unicorn. But when they arrive, all they find is chaos and destruction. Team Unicorn got disqualified because 2 of their riders had a crash and the third guy apparently isn't allowed to ride alone. The new opponents got a card of darkness from the Otsutskis, which can sabotage the motorcycles of their rivals. Luckily, there are video recordings to prove what's going on. But Akiza learns about it the hard way, landing in the hospital. She's out, so Crow is in again. Who gives a shit about his broken shoulder? All for the team. With that kind of motivation, Crow gets the honor of being the team's guinea pig, even though his injury slows him down a bit. Unfortunately, his opponent manages to draw the card of darkness right away. Now it would be over if it attacks. So Crow decides to strike first. Even when the effect activates, which puts both monsters in defense position and costs Crow some life points, the dark effect activates as well, trying to block Crow's wheel with the Shadow Fruit. But he has better reflexes than Yugioh on speed and could dodge it. First a direct attack, then Hook follows up, destroying Crow's monster and going straight for Crow himself, which he can dodge again. Crow wants to finish this, despite his injury. I mean, he's used to dodging the Shadow Hook's attacks, giving him the opening he needs to take out his opponent and destroy Hook for good. With his job done, he takes a pit stop, handing things off to Jack. But his opponent also has a card of darkness, which just sabotaged himself, losing the duel and had to be rescued by Jack. So, Team 5Ds is in the finals. Since the last racist doesn't want to duel or I don't know. The Otsutskis, having failed to achieve the original plan, they unleash their ghost army to go crazy and take the city in total chaos. They blow up the tournament and force the duelists into a battle royale, surrounding them and attacking 4-on-1. That's gotta be illegal, right? Several duelists literally explode. The police team up with 5Ds to try and regain control. Thankfully, the ghosts are about as dangerous as Team Rocket, low budget decks with no counters for synchro summons. So one by one they get taken out. But then the ghosts change their strategy. They all team up to go after Yusei, Sherry and Ellsworth. At first things look good for the trio, but the sheer numbers quickly become a problem. Sherry and Ellsworth are knocked out after just one turn, leaving Yusei in serious trouble. He really has to take a beating here. But hey, he has the protagonist plot armor and gets some backup from Bruno. Bruno jumps to the beach to grab his other motorcycle, awakens his inner matrix, gears up and clears the field to save Yusei. At this point, Otsutsuki Primo's heart can barely take it anymore, so he decides to handle Yusei himself. Fuck off! Bruno gives Yusei a quick tip, which lets him unlock Ultra Instinct, so he can fly through space and time, while Bruno stays behind to deal with Primo. The Otsutskis apparently have eyes literally everywhere, even in the other realm, where Yusei discovers a stone tablet, meets the Shell Man, and adds a new card to his deck. Bruno also gets his moment to shine in the duel. He pulls off combos more insane than Goku fighting Majin Buu, leaving Primo drenched in sweat. Primo is so far in the corner that the ghosts have to show up as backup. Yusei jumps back into the action too, letting Bruno focus on the small fry, while Yusei takes on Primo, who absolutely loses it and literally turns into a bike like a transformer. In full battle Frankie mode, Primo somehow thinks he's stronger now. Because, well, I don't know. At least he can blow up some windows. And his giant robot is already on the field. No problem, Yusei gets his junk destroyer in his first turn. But wait, synchro monsters aren't effective against Primo's Robo Beast. Technically, he could be if he wouldn't get distracted and his attack blocked. Optimus Primo starts to get annoyed and unleashes a thunderstorm that fries all electronics, waking Akiza from her hospital nap. Now it's Primo's turn again, and he tries to take control of Yusei's Synchro monster, which gets blocked like I block One Piece spoilers online. An upgrade for the robot can't be stopped though, so there's only one way to fight back. Axel Synchro summon. Happens. Now Stardust Dragon is wide open for absorption, and Yusei is in a seriously bad spot. The Axel Synchro summon didn't work, of course, because Yusei wasn't fully there. He was stuck in Ultra Instinct, but hadn't unlocked Mastered Ultra Instinct yet. Tough luck, because now he's under serious pressure from his metallic opponent. One attack and Yusei would bite the dust. Then the robot gets yet another upgrade, but Yusei just barely manages to fend off total annihilation. He needs Stardust Dragon back and that Axel Synchro summon, or he can pull over and hand his license. And guess what happens next? He sacrifices a monster, brings back Stardust Dragon and ends his turn. Bro, now the tank summons a fucking tornado, almost killing a girl. No, not with that attitude. Primo tries to absorb Stardust Dragon again, which Mui Yusei finally blocks with his long-awaited Axel Synchro summon, summoning the insane Shooting Star Dragon, who clears the sky. With an effect and the heart of the cards, Yusei gets 5 potential attacks. 3 of them hit, ending the duel. Primo is finished, literally, since he explodes and ends up as half a burnt mess on the ground. The other 2 Outsotskis show up, but not to get Primo back with Monster Reborn. Instead, they just steal his deck and talk about the future. Sherry is done with their nonsense and tries to run them over, but gets stopped mid-air, just like Ellsworth. Their big plan: destroy New Dominus City, of course. Sherry tries it again, but gets slapped and barely rescued. Then another stone tablet appears, this time giving the big guy a new Machine ally. Oh, and apparently they are joining the tournament now. Jack is getting roasted by his own dragon. Well, just a dream. But it's not even Jack's dream, it's the dream of Upa's father. Meanwhile, Jack and Yusei are cruising through the desert again, because for some reason they do this. This time they stumble across some familiar markings on the ground. Their destination: Graegar's place. He wants to share his nightmare with them. Oh, and while he's at it, he goes on and on about how he's grown since he stopped being possessed, about demons, and, of course, that nightmare. Jack couldn't care less about this emo talk. After all, the king shows no weaknesses. Because talking is cheap. If he wants to prove something, he will have to do it in a duel. Except that Jack's opponent isn't Graegar, it's Graegar's little brother with a deck very similar to Jack's, but also totally different. Instead of flexing with power cards, the kid specialized in negating Jack's moves, systematically shutting down his power cards. Jack ends up destroying himself with his own strength. So the nightmare comes full circle. Would Jack have lost if the duel had continued? Who knows, because he rage quits before we find out and stumbles upon a dried up village, where he encounters the Scarlet Devil, who offers him new power. Jack gets possessed, goes straight to a temple and literally gets zapped by lightning. Inside the temple he discovers another room where he meets the real Scarlet Devil. As promised, the devil offers to grant Jack's wish, if Jack can extinguish him in a duel. He's legit making a deal with the devil here. Oh, and if Jack loses, the Scarlet Devil gets to take over Jack's body. You know, the fine print. The duel begins, in which Medamon is running the perfect counter to Jack's deck. Without powerful monsters, Jack's attacks are easily disrupted and almost drains Jack to 0 life points without even attacking. The Scarlet Devil reveals his true form and nearly kills Jack, while he finally managed to deal his first damage by reflecting an attack. Something totally uncharacteristic for his usual style. From that moment, Jack flips the script to slowly gaining the upper hand. The Scarlet Devil, furious, begins to break free from the statue. Honestly, I would think that would be a little scarier. But why be afraid when you've got the Crimson Dragon on your side? Jack digivolves his Red Dragon Archfiend into a completely new card that was just created. The Red Nova Dragon who absorbs the Devil. He has no trouble finishing the duel, and thanks to the Crimson Dragon's help, they manages to escape the temple unharmed. So now we have two new boss monsters to rely on. Lazar disguised and resorts to stealing soup to survive, both for himself and his clone family. To lure him out, they organize a massive noodle soup event, even though they are broke as fuck. He shows up, escapes again, and with a tracker, they set the deal. If he beats Crow in a duel, Team 5Ds will leave him alone. If he loses, he has to spill everything he knows about Iliasta. Crow doesn't hold back, and then comes Bruno's Dora the Explorer moment. Buggy can attack as often as there are spells and traps on his field. Despite having the opportunity to win, he can't bring himself to crush Lazar in front of his clones. But Lazar, refusing to accept a pity victory, throws the duel on purpose. After Lazar's time at the circus, he quickly climbed the corporate ladder. He even recalls a mysterious phone call. To dig deeper, the team heads to the arcade because apparently that's where you can access the security division's database. But of course, they have to solve 3 duel puzzles first. Once they crack the puzzles, they finally uncover the source of the call. Momentum Express. Oh no, not Momentum Express! Anything but... No, for real. Who the hell is Momentum Express? Our crew doesn't know who Momentum Express is either, so the only logical step is to sneak into the company and gather intel. Hacking has too many obstacles. So they steal a keycard, and while 2 of them sneak into a restricted area, Yusei has to stall their opponent in a rather unusual memory duel. Normally, this wouldn't be an issue, but the opponent is straight up cheating, so he always knows which card to flip. Pretty unfair, but what does Sakura have to say about it? Thanks for your input. The 2 get the data, Yusei figures out the trick and uses the reflection from the glasses to see the cards and uses Stardust Dragon to finish the rest. So it's adios amigos, because they realize they've been exposed the entire time. We have to run! Quick, let's hop into that shuttle, it's probably safe. Oh look, the door closes behind us automatically! How convenient! The plan is to send the trio through a wormhole using the shuttle, but with a tiny error, so that they eject them and leave them stranded in the void. Thanks to Sherry's father's card, they manage to stabilize the ship again and get it back on track, just as the windows bursts open and Sherry gets flies away. The Otsotskis have repaired Primo and pulled off some Dio-tier time manipulation. Suddenly, they are the rock stars of the dueling world, and Sherry's team gone, erased as if they never existed. The tournament is called off because there's no director to oversee it. But hey, why panic when you've got a tiny clone friend like Lazar, who steps up as vice director and takes over the role of director to keep the tournament going. And for some reason, his big announcement involves millions of tiny holograms floating on the lake. Maybe the ducks hanging out at the lake also need to stay informed. Leo ends up crashing into a team that's a bit less fortunate. Their only D-wheel got destroyed by Ghost and is beyond repair. Good thing Yusei and Bruno are basically walking D-wheel encyclopedias. The strongest team, Ragnarok, gets introduced, who don't have just any cards. No, they've got the 3 god cards! But not the OG ones, but Norse gods. Odin, Thor and Loki. Dragan gets to pick his opponent for a one-on-one match, and, of course, he chooses Jack. Dragan begins with summoning Eiichiro Oda, but it's nothing more than a sacrifice for Jack's Archfiend. But bro doesn't play games when it comes to his monsters, so he wastes no time summoning Thor to attack Jack's Archfiend with such a force that the arena itself almost collapses. Before things can escalate further, the duel is interrupted and it goes on with the official tournament. And who's up next? None other than Team Taiyo, the underdog team whose ass Yusei and the crew literally just saved. In Block A, the Otsotskis dominate. In Block B, it's Yusei and the gang's time to shine. And Team Taiyo, those who patched together their D-wheel with blood, sweat and tears. so they can reject the better one offered by a father. And those bad cards, turns out they are hidden gems, what Jack learns the hard way when those weak cards create a wall bigger than the 3 walls in Attack on Titan, completely shutting down his Arcfiend. It's only after Jack finally disables the hand-holding Jin's effect that he can break through and start turning the duel around. 1-0 for Team 5Ds. But with the second rider, the defensive wall is back in full force. This guy had about as much faith in his team as Vegeta does in Yamcha, but after they saved him, he's all in. Jack, fed up with all this 4D chess, decides to unleash a shockwave big enough to take them both down at once. But the opponent manages to save himself at the last second, leaving Jack to crash out alone. Now it's Crow's turn, who loses nearly half of his life points thanks to a quick spell effect. That demands revenge. Crow summons his Armor Master and goes straight for the defense, setting himself up to tear down the wall with Blackwing Dragan on his next turn. Now only one opponent remains, but he's not even thinking about giving up. And why so? They've got an ace up their sleeve. Something supposedly as strong as the Egyptian god cards. Up until now, this beast has never been summoned in an official duel. It's immune to everything, monsters, spells, traps, and its attack powers is always the opponent's monsters plus 1000, what he delivers with a Saitama punch. Then he uses a trap card to take Crow out of the game, leaving it to Yusei to fix the mess. And he wastes no time. After pulling off a combo, he slams 4 monsters onto the field and synchro summons his Stardust Dragon. This is exactly that kind of moment where the anime opening starts playing in the background and everyone watching knows it's about to get epic. To protect Stardust Dragon, he reduces its attack points to 0. Not a bad move. But to shrink the giant, he gonna need an Axel Synchro, gliding through space and time to summon the Shooting Star Dragon. With its effect, Shooting Star can dodge the beast's attacks, but thanks to a trap card, Yusei still takes a hit. Even so, Zushin is finally brought down by another effect, and a well-timed trap card wipes out the opponent's remaining life points. That's it for Team Taiyo. Team 5Ds aren't the only ones with insider knowledge on Otsutsukis. Their next opponents, Team Ragnarok, also know everything thanks to their rune eyes. The trio Harald, Dragan and Brave basically are like the Powerpuff Girls of the Yu-Gi-Oh world. Leader Harald quit his job as a fighter jet pilot to follow his destiny and save the Earth. Along the way, he claimed Odin, gathered Dragan with Thor and brought in Brave with Loki to assemble the Avengers. But even though both teams share the same goal, Team Ragnarok doesn't want 5Ds in their friendship book. About as much as Vegeta wants to invite Goku to his birthday party. Harald wants beef with Yusei as his father built the reactor. Dragan has an issue with Jack because he once had to throw a duel in Jack's favor at a rigged tournament, even though Jack had no clue about it. And as for Brave and Crow, they are cool. And yeah, that's for real the last episode in the dub. The fact that the duel was rigged hits Jack harder than if Goodwin had took the last slice of pizza. For real, he's more triggered than a Naruto fan hearing the word filler. But now, Jack gets the chance to prove that he could have won the duel without any underhanded deals, as he faces Dragan in their rematch. And because Fate has a sense of humor sharper than a Kakuya meme, both duelists draw the exact same opening hand as in their first duel. This means they play the exact same moves as before. But this time, the trap card is activated, slightly reducing the damage, but not enough to save the monster. This allows him to summon Goda again, setting the stage for his ace, Thor, in the next turn. He uses his effect and bonks Jack's dragon on the head. And since Thor's hammer has already tasted blood, he gets a trap card, allowing him to attack twice per turn and inflict piercing damage. No, seriously, Jack isn't just losing life points, he's taking real physical damage. Against a beast like this, Jack's only hope is to call in the big uncle of his Arcfiend, Nova Dragon, which gets trapped. So he gets swapped back for his Arcfiend, only to sacrifice it again to summon Nova Dragon to finally smash Thor off the field. The old rigged duel is settled and Dragan's grudge against Jack comes to an end. Unlike the Avenger, he's who rises Moses style during the end phase, sneaking in some last minute damage before Jack has to step up and face the next opponent. But since Thor keeps coming back anyway, it doesn't matter if he takes Red Nova Dragon down with him, so that he comes back in the end phase to kick Jack out. F in the chat for our Dragon Knight. That sets the stage for the next duel. Crow vs Brave. But what can Crow even do against Thor in his first turn? Well, apparently quite a bit. He uses Armor Master to destroy Thor and attacks directly with Sirocco. But the Trickster restores his life points and brings back a new strong monster, while Thor, as always, makes his return during the end phase. Piece by piece, Crow gets outplayed and worn down. The irony? These two could honestly be brothers in spirit. Like Crow, Brave also took in orphans and cared for children who lost their parents to a country constantly waging pointless wars. Crow summons his black-winged dragon and manages to destroy the God card, at least until Thor inevitably returns in the end phase. Then Loki joins the party, bringing a devastating effect that lets him destroy a spell or trap card during his attack. With no monsters left on the field and only 50 life points remaining, Crow's situation looks bad. Finally, it's Crow's turn to out-trick the Trickster. He lets Brave destroy 2 identical trap cards, which not only strips off 10 speed counters, but also lets Crow activate an effect to bring back his Black-Winged, and with him, alongside the 2 traps in the graveyard, Crow manages to force a draw. Even Loki is wiped out in the process. But Loki comes back, unlike Crow's dragon, with which Yusei now has to face the boss Harald and his 2 Norse gods. Yusei has to build defensive walls and trying to lock down the gods before the match ends faster than anyone expects. And then he appears. Odin, the All-Father of the Norse gods. With him, the others are free again, becoming immune to spells and traps during his turn. Yusei's field is completely empty, like a fridge at the end of the month. But what are the 3 Norse gods compared to the Crimson Dragon? Yusei instantly summons 3 monsters to bring out Stardust. Then he digivolves it into the Majestic Star Dragon. Harald sees through Yusei's plan, but decides to play along anyway, letting his gods be destroyed since he knows they will come back, and Yusei's trap gets countered as well, what he also expected. In just 3 turns, it will be over for Yusei if he doesn't turn things around. But that's exactly what Yusei plans to do. First, he brings Stardust back to the field and tanks one attack after another. Survived, he's ready for the Axel Synchro summon to summon his Shooting Star Dragon. Powers it up and draw 3 monsters, allowing Shooting Star Dragon to attack 3 times. Perfect to take out all 3 Norse gods. But, of course, all 3 gods come right back, and with them, their effects. Yusei takes damage, Harald gets to set a trap, and a card gets drawn. To make matters worse, Shooting Star is weakened. But everything is according to his plan. With a trap card, he negates Odin's effect by copying one of Harald's own traps, temporarily sends his dragon off, and uses a second trap to reduce all of attack points to 0, so that he takes no damage. Then the dragon returns, and with Harald wide open, he delivers the final blow to end the duel. What an absolutely insane episode! Team 5Ds has made it to the final showdown against Team Orzotski. But hey, before the action kicks off, the creators decide to pull a My Hero Academia move and reintroduce every single character. You know, just in case we somehow forgot who they are after all these episodes. This is Jack. This is Crow. This? Wait, that's me! Haha, so cool! These are Para and Doxine. And this is Bruno, former CP9 agent. And of course, Yusei. Cool. Sherry isn't dead after all. She's just vibing with the shell guy, trying to uncover the truth. But let's get to the real deal. The final starts with Jack against Lester. Nobody's here to drag this out, so Jack wastes no time bringing Nova onto the field. Lester, not one to fall behind, quickly assembles his own machine. But honestly, that Iron Man doesn't hold up for long and breaks down real fast. Lester is out, but not before he manages to power up a trap card for his next teammate. Primo steps into the duel next and wastes no time assembling his robo-body. Though he doesn't follow the original plan perfectly, it's enough to hit Jack a bit, but at the end he also bites the dust, rolling out of the match. Still, he manages to set up some solid groundwork for the last duelist. Fusing with his D-wheel and off to the end boss. The duel gets real, as damage is taken for real as well again. Or with Jacob, more like dents in his metal. And he summons his robot in the very first round as well. His attack points matches his life points. And with a loaded trap card, he pumps himself up to a ridiculous 12,000 life points. And whenever he attacks, it negates the effects of the opponent's monster. And if it destroys it, it absorbs the Synchro monster to boost its own power even further. By the time Jack gets knocked out, Jacob's robot has skyrocketed to 15,500 attack points. Well, good luck, Crow. His first attempt to destroy him gets blocked by a trap card. The second attempt is a bit more promising, but it also gets shut down when Jacob abuses Jack's absorbed Nova. Not only can he summon it for defense, but he can also attack with it, turning Crow into a roast chicken. But it's not the end. Things are looking grim and Crow knows it. He's lost all hope of winning and is on the verge of giving up. But instead of backing down, he pulls off a true kamikaze move just so that Yusei can have his black-winged dragon. And he only left him behind so it could be destroyed, allowing Yusei to activate the trap card and summon Stardust. And where Stardust shows up, Shooting Star isn't far behind. But before the duel continues, all of Team 5Ds get sucked into a vision of a ruined future New Domino City. Or maybe it's just the Frankfurt Central Station. They are shown that excessive synchro summoning has caused shockwaves that made humanity advance rapidly, until robots went crazy and turned on them. The exact same tin cans that Lester, Primo and Jacob used in their decks. Like, seriously, do these guys not realize they are literally creating the apocalypse they are trying to prevent? Anyway, Yusei's here to put a stop to all of it with Shooting Star Dragon. He draws 5 monsters, meaning he can attack 5 times. First up is Nova, which he overcomes with the help of a trap card. Then he starts tearing it apart piece by piece. But instead of finishing the duel, the 3 Otsotskis fly into the sky and fuse into Susanomon. And wait, what? Bro, this cannot be how this season ends. So let's get to a conclusion. We've got 36 good episodes, 4 decent and 2 bad ones. That makes this the best season of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D so far, and honestly one of the best seasons in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, with 20 episodes still left, the big question is, can they top this?